Tell us, when it comes to passive investing, you've been making some of these moves since 2007. Tell us, what was the point where you realized, okay, I need to start creating another income stream that's outside of my career? And what was the driver behind that?
Well, it was twofold. One was originally not trusting that my 100% of my income come from one source, going back to age 9 or 10. So that was always a big driver in the back of my mind, is not to have all my money coming from one source. And the second thing was essentially, at age 45, I was 20 years into a 40-year career. Everybody essentially goes from age 25 to 65 until they retire. So I was at halftime, the proverbial halftime in my career. And I said, it's time to make some halftime adjustments. Let's take a look at where I sit today. And then when I looked at it, I realized quickly that this was not going to generate enough money from my passive income sources to replace the income I was making. And I didn't want to take a pay cut. So those two things combined were the motivation for me to do this.
So you hit this point, you realized, wow, I don't have trust that I'm going to be taken care of long-term for my career. The old gold watch and let my retirement take care of me forever idea is really out the window, but a lot of people still believe it. So the fact that you had kind of had that distrust, although maybe wasn't making you comfortable, it made you go do something different. What was one of the first things that you started doing that started creating one of those streams?
Well, I looked at my loan portfolio and said, who would I want to switch places with? And most of them were small business, medium business size owners, and they all had the same headaches that a lot of business owners realize. And essentially it comes down to dealing with a lot of employees and government regulation. So those two things were kind of the big negatives, which kept me from wanting to leave my W-2. But then I looked at it really hard, and really the people that I admired the most and that were actually experiencing the kind of lifestyle that I envisioned for myself were the real estate investors. And so I reached out to a gentleman who had retired and then got into real estate at the age of 65. He decided he was going to do multifamily apartments, and I started financing some of them for him. And I asked him, I'm like, I left that bank, so he was no longer my customer. I had been through 7 bank mergers in my career. And essentially, when I go into my next bank, I said, I don't want you to be my customer. I want to be your partner. Let me into some of your apartment deals. So we got into my first apartment deal was how I dipped my toe in the water, because I knew I was going to only want to do it passively. And that worked out to be a great deal to get me started in real estate.
Yeah. So you had that realization, you started seeing someone else doing it. You started noticing what's working for them. You recognized that they had a lot of the things that you wanted. So you kind of went out and found somebody who was doing that, and you got involved. And that happened to be a multifamily deal. So I know that no matter what type of real estate asset you're investing in, you can start to create passive income. And so it's really great to see, just as an example, it doesn't take it being that complicated. We don't have to get too custom or specialized here. We just really need to go and find people that we can trust, that we can build a relationship with, whether that's digital, like here on the podcast, whether that is something that you're working with somebody in person, but you actually went and then took action and found a way to be able to put some of your money to work. I think that's really, really big. And so one of the things we focus on a lot at the Investor Mindset is really changing the way that you think about money. And, people need to be focused on making money, on multiplying money, and on managing money. And oftentimes people do that in the wrong order. They'll try to focus on managing money they don't have, try to save a buck at Starbucks instead of going and figuring out a way to make another $20, $50, or $100,000 a year. And so for you, in your position, while you were working your career, how did you decide that, making the move towards multiplying money by investing passively was the right choice for you at that point in time versus getting more active and, getting involved in a business or something that's going to spruce up the way that you're making money?
Well, actually, I tried other things before real estate. They just didn't work. So I started a business from scratch. I bought a business. I tried to do an Amazon business. I tried multi-level marketing at one point. None of them worked for me. And I had an appreciation, since I was lending money to successful business owners, that it took a rare individual to be able to take a business from an idea to actually making enough money to make more than they could if they just went to work for somebody else. So when I tried everything else and all roads led back to real estate, banks love to lend on real estate, and it's a very simple concept for people to understand. The one thing that kept me away from doing it is I am terrible at anything. I can't fix anything. I can't swing a hammer. I've never built anything in my life. If I did, it would fall apart. So essentially, and I had no interest in it either. So, people will say, well, you can learn anything. I said, you can, but are you going to be good at it? And are you going to be, is there a better use of your time? So the concept I had to come across is the who, not how, where a lot of real estate centric type of podcasts, they have a real estate guru that basically says, look, I was, born in a barn and had no money, and now I'm a multimillionaire in a yacht, and I can take a house and drop me anywhere in America, and I can find a house and negotiate seller financing, and I got my tool belt out, and I can fix the thing, and I can flip the thing, and I can talk to people. They have all these skill sets, and it's like, yeah, that's a very rare person that can do that. And if you can do that, I say great. But for the rest of us mortals, what are we supposed to do? And so that kept me from doing real estate until I realized I don't have to be the guy that even goes to find the house. I can literally sit in my office and wait for my phone to go ding. And it's like, hey, Dave, we found this house. We need this much money for closing. Make sure it's there. That's your job. And I generally can do my job in 15 minutes. So why leave my job when, essentially, if I can get your money to you in 15 minutes, give me a piece of the action and I'm on the note. So I take away from them what is their weakness into my strength. They take away what's my weakness into their strength. And the combination of those things makes their life easier and my life easier. And we all share in the spoils.
I love this. I love this concept. I'm a big believer in doing what you do best and letting others do the rest. Because at the core of it, I flipped 200 houses in about 2.5 years, and I'm not a handy person. I'm not swinging a hammer. I didn't even live in the states that I was operating in, but I knew how to build a team and I knew how to find deals. And I went out and I did that piece and I found someone else to do the rest. And then same in managing and operating multifamily. We're asset managing, we're finding deals, we're putting capital together, we're operating, but we're not property managing. I'm not doing construction. We're not out there every single day. We've got people on our team and vendors who are doing the thing that they're best at. But truth is, some people wouldn't even want to do what I'm doing. They wouldn't want to spend a decade learning the skills in order to step into this position. And quite frankly, they don't need to, because there's actually better paths towards creating financial freedom that you can actually be free to not have to do the work. And so I love that. Today's episode is sponsored by Von Finch Capital. If you're interested in investing alongside me in the same type of real estate opportunities that I personally invest in, then head over to Von Finch Capital and join their private investor network. You can do so at vonfinch.com/invest. Join me on that next deal, and I look forward to seeing you on the inside.
Thank you for listening to the Investor Mindset Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Head over to theinvestormindset.com to join the Insider Club, where we share tools and strategies from the top investors and entrepreneurs on how to take it to the next level.